Hey guys, Ev's back to entertain, and it's just another episode of Ev doesn't really entertain, which is basically me vlogging, just rattling off the mouth, and just I don't really care how many views this gets. I'm just gonna talk about what's on my mind, or just about whatever on issues and whatnot, or not issues, but just whatever on my mind. With this episode, I just want to talk about smartphones. In many ways, they're very helpful, but in many ways, they're in one big way, but it's like a big way. So, as we all know, smartphones have been around since 2007, I want to say. Was that? Yeah, 2007. Steve Jobs started, had the iPhone. And I was going to raise my own phone, but I got Samsung. But anyway. And, ever since then, smartphones have been, almost vital to everyone's back pocket, really. And, other companies like Nokia or like BlackBerry, they kind of lost their way in the market as time went by during mid to 2010s, because Apple and Android phones started selling smartphones, and that's how business works. Now, mind you, I wasn't around during the flip phone phase, or I was born in 2003, so when I was very, very young. I still know some people had flip phone, but I wasn't around during flip phones, or even obviously I wasn't in the 80s. Obviously I wasn't around the 80s, so I don't know how those freaking block phones were. But for most of my life, smartphones have been just the main thing, and that's fine. But however, I feel like there's certain pros and cons with smartphones, and I think that there's admittedly more pros than cons, but that con is very very strong. So I just want to talk about how I feel about it. In terms of pros, smartphones are very helpful in many ways. If you're stranded in New York, you could just easily call someone, or not call. You could call someone even before smartphones, but you could just get an Uber, or you have to try to wait for a taxi to get around. You could just call an Uber and boom, you'll be fine. There's easy accessibility to many things with smartphones, and that's the one main positive thing. It's just when it comes to a situation where you really don't know what to do, smartphones an easy way to counteract it, and I think that's great. It's gotten to a point where I'm trying to imagine a world without smartphones. I feel you'd easily get lost in certain places. It's just intimidating, really, to think about how if you were lost in the woods or something, if you didn't have your not have your smartphone, means you were just basically screwed. You could granted, you could have had no service or anything, so you still wouldn't call anyone, but at least you can have an easy idea of what to do, when you're lost in the woods. Without a smartphone, you would just be stranded, and then you just pray for anything, really. And that also translates to multimedia in many ways. TV shows and movies can be, I guess YouTube content too, can be easily accessed through phones, and that's just that really affects how people see shows and movies nowadays. Instead of going to a theater, or even just buying a movie off of on demand or something, you can just easily buy a movie or show off your phone, and then just watch it just under the sheets, watch it like this. And that just leads to better accessibility with shows and movies and all that. However, my main gripe with smartphones really is that it affects social interaction in many different ways. And to start off, for one thing, it's really weird, because yesterday I was in school, and I was walking by, and there were two people walking the other direction, and literally both of them were just on their phone looking like this. And it just really had me thinking, just the effect that smartphones have on just doing day-to-day tasks is just monumental, really. It's just I feel that I feel like phones kind of put a certain wall in between social interaction in some ways, whether it comes to texting or just talking to someone face to face. I just feel that you could easily just pull out your phone and just affect the conversation in one way or another. But that's just how I see it. And mind you, like I'm not saying I'm like, again, I'm not like saying I'm a purist or anything. I get addicted to my phone sometimes. That's why recently I've been trying to do things to remedy the issue. Like I try to do a digital well-being, so I try to put like a limit on some of the apps I use the most. Like this week I've been starting to read more, because I remember like before I had a phone, I like read like comic books and all that, and now I'm getting back to that. And it's just I'm trying to find ways to like just get off it, because like honestly I used to be like really addicted to my phone. Like I remember before, when I first started doing the digital well-being, I was looking up like how long I spend or how much time I spend on each app, and like literally like one day I spent like 6 hours on YouTube. That's like a quarter of a day. Like it's just like that's ridiculous. So that's why I put like a size screen limit on YouTube, because like that's a lot. But you know, and just, so that's my next thing. I just feel like that, you know, you can get very addicted to phones. Like I feel like that in one way it's not like a drug, but it's just in some ways it's you know, it's very easy to get addicted to like your phone. You could be very addicted to screens, and because like, you know, especially with stuff like YouTube where like there's a boatload of content, it's very addicted to just like, you know, just, I mean, that's the thing with me. It's like when I get on YouTube, I try to look up music to listen to, but then I start like, you know, going to something else and going to something else and going to something else, and that makes me just addicted to it, and that makes me just be on there for like 6 hours. Not 6 hours straight, but like, you know, 6 hours like of the day. And it's just it's very interesting, because it's just so easy to get addicted to the phone, addicted to phones, and I think it affects social interaction in many ways. Again, because like say like you're going out to eat, you know, if you have nothing to talk about, you easily just like pull out your phone and just play on it or text or whatever. And I mean that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I feel like that without it, you know, you'd have more of a reason to get to know someone, to get to talk to someone. So, and granted, you could just do that while texting, but it's just how I feel. I feel like that it affects social interaction in many different ways. I just feel like that there's often, I feel like that one of my biggest problems really is like I often overthink a lot, and when it comes to like texting, there are a lot of times where I think something someone says like much worse than it seems. So I often overthink. I feel like I wouldn't feel the same way if I just like outright talk to them. But you know, because I'm so on my phone a lot, I resort to texting, and more often than not, I get that feeling of paranoia more often. So, you know, it's just like I that's why I honestly prefer calling someone, because I'd rather hear their voice and like talk to them there than just texting. But you know, I mean, I won't lie, I do text, and I sometimes get addicted to texting too. So I just think that I won't do this for too long or anything, but I just think that, you know, smartphones really affect social interaction in many different ways, and more often than not, it's mostly negative. But you know, I'm not trying to say that I'm not guilty. You know, I'm definitely guilty of being addicted to my phone. I'm just trying to work on it. But yeah, and it's just another thing too is like, you know, because like a lot of social media is on phones. You know, that also affects people's morale or how they view themselves. And I mean, to be fair, you can look up social media like on a computer or whatever. Like certain apps like Snapchat, like they're like exclusive on phones. You know, it's you know, you can be addicted, and then you realize, you know, what you don't have or what you do have compared to someone else, and that can also like affect, you know, interaction some way or another. But yeah, but I wasn't. That's all I got. I mean, I wasn't gonna make this a long episode or anything, even if it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I was gonna say I'll get like a bunch of dislikes for this, but I forgot YouTube had a brilliant idea of getting rid of the dislikes button, so, or not getting rid of it, but not showing the numbers, which is incredibly stupid. God, people are so soft. But yeah, that's just like how I feel about smartphones. I just think that, you know, they're very helpful and very accessible, and they make things accessible in many different ways. But I think that the caveat is that they affect social interactions in a bad way, and I think it's unfortunate. But I mean, if I had to think of a solution to the problem, I guess, I don't know. I feel like stuff like digital well-being. I feel like stuff like digital well-being should be like advertised more. so that people who are addicted to phones have a clear-cut solution on like what to do to counteract the issue. Because I didn't know about digital well-being until I think either my friend told me or my brother told me, and I think it does help. Now, mind you, sometimes I do get overwhelmed. I just like keep adding more time on the timer for YouTube, whatever, just to like finish a video. I will admit that, but at least the option's there. Yeah, I think that stuff like digital well-being, just like screen limit or whatever, I think that should be advertised a lot more, in all honesty, because I think that would really help in not just improving social interaction, but also improving the whole problem of being addicted to the screen. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. Not sure if any of that was meaningful or senile, but I just like venting, so I don't know. But not for real though. It's Ev here to entertain, and have a good one, everybody.